Okay. Wow. 10 o'clock just kind of jumped up on me out of nowhere. Like, it was 9 o'clock, and then it was 9:30, and now all of a sudden it's 10. Tonight went by really quick, and today went by really quick as well. It's just one of those things. It's like, okay, I went grocery shopping. There was 2 hours with putting groceries away and everything. And then I did the podcast episode, which if you haven't listened to it yet, it's now back on my Anchor FM podcast site. So there's that. And that took a couple hours, and then I had lunch and had to run some errands, and then I went home and mowed the lawn. It's like, whew, busy day. Today just went by. It went by really quick. Ah, yes. Love the Discord. Thank you, Clawpaw. It's a fun place. A little quiet, but it's fun. All right, let's hop over to the live scene here. I've got to update the watch time. So let's see here. Watch count. We are now up to 1267. Okay, there we go. And that's something I'm going to be adding to the Monster vs. Monster live stream too, is like a KO count, just for the fun of it. So every time a monster is nixed, we can keep track of it better that way. Should be a fun way to make it a little more interesting on the screen, just besides, you know, my monitor. Oh yeah, I planted too. I planted some vegetables. Got my part of my garden going, so that's gonna be good too. Joe Math, hey, welcome aboard, and Clorox as well. You know, I didn't want to leave you out, bud. Thanks for everyone for stopping by. We've got a couple requests in the Discord already, so you know what? Let's just jump right into that. So let me pull those up. And the first one comes from Rusty on the Discord. Don't remember. I have to look and see. Where was it? Monster Quest. And let's see here. Yeah, I forgot who that was. Okay. So first one is going to be the Shadowy Ambusher by Rusty. And let's take a look at this original image here. Actually, just throw that there. Put that there. And we'll shrink that down a little bit. If it will work with me. Come on. Ah, all right. Now I've got it. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see here. I'm going to get back to that screen, and we'll jump right into this. All right, so we have a Shadowy Ambusher. And before we get into that, is there any other pressing news? No, besides the podcast starting back up, that's about it. The podcast is just going to be a follow-up to the Monster vs. Monster mock battle live streams, so that's going to be fun if you like a lot more math and just discussion. So far, this episode was about 24 minutes, so maybe a half-hour episode of me rambling about numbers and stuff. I don't know. If you can't get enough of my voice, there'll be more to come. Let's see here. Wait, I forgot if we actually agree on invisibility is equivalent to invisibility spell or greater invisibility is equivalent to superior invisibility. I would only say greater invisibility, Joe Math. Regular invisibility costs an action, but if it's worthwhile to have that set up, then I would apply the +2 AC, +2 AC bonus. Otherwise, I would only use greater invisibility, but let's see here. Actually, now, you know, I don't know. I would probably say greater invisibility is going to be equivalent to superior invisibility, even though it still costs an action. Regular invisibility might be the effective hit points. So let's see here. Where is invisibility? There we go. So maybe it's worth 16 effective DPR. And then we switch that to, I think, 40 effective hit points. Greater invisibility is going to be much higher, so that's why I would probably give it the +2 AC bonus. Hey Wade, welcome aboard. You're just in time. We're just about to get into the first monster here by Rusty on the Discord. So you haven't missed anything. There was some things I check on their traits. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, if we go with the monster traits from the DM's book there, the DMG, then invisibility itself would have no bonus. So we probably couldn't even use effective hit points. I don't know. They may have just done that to make it a little easier. So it's really up to you, Joe Math. Ah, Wade, perfect. This is your monster, the Shadowy Ambusher. Couldn't remember who was who with the difference in names. All right, let's get right into it now that you're here. Okay, so we have the Shadowy Ambusher with 13 AC, medium humanoid, which is fine. We have 68 hit dice, and the following stats of 12, 16, 13, 11, 12, and 12, with the expected CR of 1. Oh, okay. Yes, I believe this is a homebrew, Joe Math. Generally speaking, I've been doing homebrews for the live streams and leaving the CR shorts for the official stuff and just doing homebrews for the fun of it now. So it's a little bit of a flip. If I have time after people have gotten their requests in with their homebrews or other such items, like Clawpaw has been giving us examples from the Monster Hunter Monster Manual by ML Wind, then that's a third party, and I will look at whatever anyone wants. So if it's homebrew, third party, first party, whatever, I'll look at it all. Sorry for the sniffles. Okay, and we have, let's see here, all that set up. So we have 2 saving throws. We don't have to worry about that. 1 vulnerability, and because it's 1 vulnerability, we don't have to worry about that as well. Damage resistance to necrotic, only 1, so we'll move on. We have Ambusher, Grappler, and Shadow Stealth. So we can throw those in. We have Ambusher here. Grappler. Shadowy Ambusher has advantage on attack rolls against any creature grappled by it. Okay, that's helpful. Probably will come into play in a little bit once we take a look at some of the attacks that it does. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Based on the Shadar Kai, but I wanted more of a template. Excellent. Okay, cool. Let's see here. We have the Shadow Stealth down here for +4 effective AC bonus. And then we have our actions. Kusarigama. Okay, there we go. Kusarigama. Melee weapon attack. +5 to hit. Let's see, what else? +5 for that. And Shadow Jump. Okay. So we do have a +5 to hit. And I'll throw that in now. And the Kusarigama is a melee weapon. 10-foot reach. 1 target. 6 piercing damage. Okay. So we're looking at... equals sign 6.5, and then what else do we have? Target succeeds on the dex save or suffers one of the following effects. So we have Drain, and they take 3 necrotic damage, and then the Shadowy Ambusher gains hit points equal to that damage dealt. Restrain, the target is grappled, the grapple ends, and so on, or the target is knocked prone. Okay. Now, because of these effects being extremely random and knocked prone, while handy, you're not going to get much use out of that knocked prone. If there's anyone else with this monster, then we might see them get the bonus from the prone. Otherwise, on the next round, the target's just going to get right back up. So even though we would see a +1 AC bonus here and maybe 3 temporary hit points here, I'm going to say we're not going to bother adding in anything here because, we could have 3 full rounds of just necrotic damage, or we could have 3 rounds of this, or 3 rounds of that, or any combination here. I mean, we could try and work it out, but it would probably be just maybe 1 AC, if that. I'm not going to give any kind of bonuses to this part of the weapon here. So we'll just leave that there. And then we have a dart for 5.5 piercing damage. And our Shadow Jump. And the Shadow Jump, as a bonus action, the Shadowy Ambusher teleports along with any equipment it's wearing up to 30 feet. Okay, both the space it teleports to and from is... Sorry, so yeah. It has to be in that. And we have the Shadow Stealth there. But I would probably say a little bit of effective hit points here from... No, not that. Probably the Vortex Warp. Vortex Warp is another similar temporary... Oh, hey, Naga. Just looking up a homebrew here by Wade. And no, you haven't really missed anything. We just started working on this custom homebrew here. So you're pretty much right along in time. So sit back, grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, whatever, a soft drink, and we're working through this. Yes, just as Joe Math said, this is the first monster. All right, Shadow Jump, I would probably award 16 effective DPR, or we can convert that to effective hit points since it's a lower level jump. I might even say since it's only 30 feet, I would probably award it a level 1, honestly. Probably let's go with 11 effective DPR here, and then we'll take it, convert it to effective hit points, which is 27, and since it's a bonus action, and in theory this shadowy ambusher is always going to be in dim or dark light, dim or darkness, we would probably get that every time. So we can throw in the extra 27 effective hit points here for that bonus action and see what we get. And sure enough, with everything that we've marked here, oh wait, hold on, gotta put in the damage, 6.5. This is gonna be simple enough. It's gonna be the Kusarigama times 3 for 3 rounds of combat. Oh, there we go. We've bumped up to a CR2. Yeah, so let's see here. We're a little higher than we're expecting, but that's probably because of the Shadow Jump. If I remove that, then we're down to a CR1. But we also have Shadow Stealth, which, let's see here. While in dim or dark night, the ambush can hide as a bonus action. We also have that going on. So if we keep the bonus action here, but get rid of Shadow Stealth, where are we at? We're still at a CR1. So we have 2 really big things going on here, Wade. I like both ideas. The only thing I would suggest is if you want to keep this as it is, I would mark it as a CR2, challenge rating 2. Otherwise, maybe remove one of those 2 items, depending on the nature of this ambusher. It's fantastic. I like the idea of this monster and how it looks, and what I'm thinking here, of how it can be used in combat. All right, so there we go. 2 ways to potentially bring this back down to a CR1, and otherwise we have a CR2. Not too far off, not terrible, but at lower levels it can be a little tricky. All right, Wade, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It was excellent to look at that. We are going to move on to Clawpaw's request, which was a monster from the Monster Hunter Monster Manual. And I don't think I missed anything either. Just want to double check here. Let's see here. Might leave one feature out for CR1, and as the party progresses, add it back in. Yeah, that would be a really great way to show that the monster themselves, if they're some kind of elite group, or if this monster becomes a nemesis, then you could have them evolve over time as well. In my Sunday games right now, my group has a nemesis out of a Inquisitor of the Sword. They're not... I'm using them as evil humanoids for the campaign, so they've encountered this humanoid twice now, and because she can teleport all the time, she's been able to get out of combat very quickly and survived with like 1 hit point as she was escaping into some town running from the adventurers. So yeah, that would be a really fantastic way to show that this monster or these types of ambushers are progressing as well and getting more deadly. Good idea. I like that, Wade. Excellent. All right. Let's see here. So let me grab the next monster up while you all wait. And let's see here. So Clawpaw wanted the Nargacuga. All right. Nargacuga. All right, and as I need to remember, these are all clickable. So that way I can jump right down to it. Oh, the other one, you want that instead? All right. Oh, right. Oh, I don't know why I looked at that one. Yes, the Barioth. There you go. Okay. Find the Barioth. All right, so the CR15, right? Not the 20. I mean, it's going to get us right there anyways. Oh, interesting. It's like a saber-tooth wyvern. Yes. Yes, Naga. This is Monster Hunter Monster Manual by a person named ML Wind. And I know ML because he is part of a group that I am now a patron of called Questiary. And they do a whole bunch of stuff on Patreon under the name Questiary. Let me show you that real quick. Okay. Questiary does, they're up to full color monsters. They're doing PDFs, all sorts of monsters for 5th edition. And they're unique. They come with tokens. They're now doing VTT files for Foundry. And every week, they're putting out 7 monsters, full color, and quests, monster builds and whatnot. Fantastic stuff. Really believe in his work. And this guy, Emma Wind, also does. He also has his own Patreon for the Monster Hunter stuff. Let's see here. Let's see. So yes, he has ML Wind's Guide to Monster Hunter World for 5th edition. And then, you know, there's some perks here, and you can see what he has going on there. If I go to posts, oops. Shoot. Come on, one more time. That should bring us to what he's got posted and going on here. So a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Updates. He just updated the what's going on there. So a lot of good stuff there if you're really into it. His stuff is really on point, and I enjoy looking over his stuff. Fantastic work this guy does. All right, so enough of shining the light on ML Wind, but yes, he does Monster Hunter stuff for D&D, which is cool. All right, let's see here. I was just about to play Rise. Okay. All right, let's jump into this. So we have this really cool looking Barioth here. And like I said, it looks like a saber-tooth tiger wyvern combination, which is really fascinating. And what is going on here? Okay, this is just one long. All right, cool. So it's a huge wyvern. And we got, let's see here, 16 AC. Huge, as I said before. So we're looking at one massive wyvern, which is a flying version. As it was pointed out to me before, there's all sorts of different types of wyverns. So I don't play Monster Hunter, unfortunately. So it's fascinating to learn all the different stuff going on in the Monster Hunter world. And what do we got here for Constitution? 20 for that. And should be 15 for the CR. So next up in the monster traits, we have 3 saving throws. So we'll switch that to 3 to 4. And we've got 1 cold immunity and a bunch of damage resistances to bludgeon, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. Okay, since we have 3 conditions for that, we'll throw the resistances on and see that we'll get an extra 25% bonus in hit points for those resistances. But more than likely at this point in time, with the CR15, your players are probably going to have magical weapons. Yeah, yes, this one does fly, but because it's over CR15, when I hit the flies and range damage, even if it does have range damage, it's not going to do anything. Because once monsters are over CR10 and the players themselves are over level 10, they can handle flying monsters usually pretty easy. So even though it flies with a 40-foot flying speed, it's not going to make a difference for anything over CR10, unfortunately. And then we have nothing else to worry about here, so we'll move down into the action sections for our monster. And we have, oh wow, we have no traits. Nothing for the Barioth. Fascinating. So it's just attacks and legendary actions. Okay. So then we have multi-attack of 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. And this has a +11 to hit. So that's going to be thrown in there. And we're looking at, let's see here, 19.5 damage for the bite. Because it's an odd number of dice, we always add in a half damage just in case. I learned that a long time ago with, I can't remember what it was. I think it was a monster from the Princes of the Apocalypse. Just a general grunt that once I added in the half damage dice, it was like, oh, yeah, now we found the CR. It was a very big eye-opener that day. Okay, next we have the claws with 13 damage per round on average. Then we have a tail swipe, and for the tail swipe we're looking at, let's see here, 22.5 damage, and the strength saving throw or be pushed back 10 feet and knocked prone. So nothing else extra there, which is fine. And then the last thing we have is Vortex. On a recharge of 5 to 6, the Barioth creates a 15-foot wide vortex within 60 feet of it. Each creature in that area makes a dex save, taking, let's see here, taking 22.5 bludgeoning and 7 cold damage. And then we will multiply that by 2 because we take the total of 2 failed saves worth of damage. Times 2 for a total of 59 points of damage there. And then we have a multi-attack, and that was 1 bite, 2 claws. I have something, felt like I had a bug crawling up my arm. Okay, so that and that times 2 for a total of 45.5 on the multi-attack. All right, now let's take a look at the legendary actions. For the Barioth, we have a Detect, which it uses a Wisdom Perception check. There might be some bonuses here, but I have no idea what it would be, besides finding someone that's, using stealth, maybe, or has gone invisible. But I'm going to give that a 0 for DPR there. After that, we have Tail Swipe, and since the Tail Swipe is dealing 22.5, we can multiply that times 3 for 3 uses of the Tail Swipe, giving us a total of 67.5 points of damage on average for 3 uses. And then lastly, we have Ice Slide. Costs 2 action points. And let's see here. We have creatures have to make a dex save. And then after that, they take 20.5 slashing damage and be knocked prone. So again, we have to take that 20.5, multiply it times 2, and we'll add in 1 Tail Swipe as the last action used for that as well, for a total of 63.5. So we have 2 really close combinations here of legendary actions of, 3 Tail Swipes or an Ice Slide and a Tail Swipe. More than likely, if, the party is in danger of being hit by this Ice Slide, if you get 3 or 4, 5 or 6, however many are in your party, this option might be the better option, depends on the context of the combat. But for general purposes here, we're going to use the Tail Swipe. All right, now let's see here. We're going to add in our rounds of combat since I don't see anything for lair actions. Nope, nothing there, just looting and whatnot. So we will say round 1 will be the Vortex, and then we'll add in the legendary actions, which does more damage than the regular attacks, which is surprising. And then we have a multi-attack plus the legendary action there, and we'll just repeat rounds 2 and 3 for a total of CR 16. Okay, we're only a little bit off here. We're a little over what was calculated here for the CR 15 expected rating, and that could be because maybe they figured, all right, we'll use 1 round of the Ice Slide and then go back to the Tail Swipes. Who knows? Not too far off, and again, usually by this level, 1 CR difference isn't going to be devastating to the party. I would just award a little extra XP. I mean, we're looking at the difference of 2,000 XP here, and unfortunately, at these levels where you're fighting these types of monsters, 2,000 isn't that too far off of a drop in the bucket. I mean, it is kind of just a drop comparatively. Let's see here. If we were to, let's say we take this one and make that 31, what happens there? It only changes that a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. We're really a little off here for the Barioth, so I would say it's probably fine at CR 15, but let's see what happens when we take resistances off, because like I said before, as we got into this, more than likely the party's going to have magical weapons already, so they should be bypassing this resistance here. And there we go. So Surprisingly enough, or not too surprising, I was thinking maybe it might end up as a CR14. When we get rid of resistances, we have ourselves a CR15, and this is what I like to see. As I've stated before, I generally like to see that the monster is actually the challenge rating without resistances or immunities. That's my personal preference. I don't know how the rest of you, what the rest of you think, but, you know. Alright, so technically, we found the CR15 just without resistances. And there you go. Barioth, I'm going to say it's even rated at 15. Okay. So we shall move on to Clorox's request, and if there's time, we'll go back to the other one, Clawpaw, if you'd like to see the Nargacuga. You're very welcome, Clawpaw. Alright, so we have the Master. Let's see what the Master has to show us. So we have a medium fiend shape changer. Oh, this is the, yes, a Rakshasa, it looks like. Lieutenant of Mordekash, previously related on stream. Reduced threat version of 2C gaming monster that will appear in Epic Legacy Tome of Titans Volume 2. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Well, we're looking at 22 AC, untouchable. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. I'm worried about the dude's effective AC. It'll be through the roof. Possible. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Medium fiend. I mean, that's why we're looking at this, right, Clorox? You know, we'll go through this and see what the effective AC really is, and have some fun with it. All right, 25 D8. Ooh, that's a lot of D8s. And we're looking at 20 Constitution. Should be CR20. And we'll move down into the skills section here. And we have 2 saving throws, so we don't have to worry about that. We do have the standard damage vulnerabilities for Rakshasas. Piercing from, you know, good creatures. So we can pretty much ignore that one. We do have damage resistances to fire. We can skip that. And then we have damage immunities to poison, bludgeon, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. Okay, so we will throw in immunities and see that we are expecting a 25% hit point bonus. And then we will look at that as well and remove that once we're all done here to see what happens. Okay, so that takes care of the skills section. We'll jump down into the monster traits, and we have avoidance. Yeah, that's an all Rakshasa, Clawpaw. Yeah, the only time they can actually be hurt a lot is by good characters. And I think that came up in campaign 1 of Critical Role because of... shoot, I just lost his name. The rogue assassin. Vex? I think Vex or Vax. I think it was Vex. Anyways, the twin elves. I believe he was a good aligned rogue assassin that could hurt the Rakshasa. And did it in one scene. Yeah, okay, Vex, there you go. Alright, so we have avoidance. And that will give us a +1 effective AC bonus for that. We have the Will of the Shadow Sword. 3 per day. When the master fails a saving throw, we can choose to reroll the save with advantage. And how are we going to look at this one? Fails a save, he can choose to reroll the save with advantage. Wow, so that's a lot. Ooh, wow. Okay. So you can choose. It's not all the time. It's very situational. I'm debating between 1 or 2 effective AC for that Will of the Shadow Sword. Huh. I'm going to go with 1 for now. I'm feeling 1 for this Will of the Shadow Sword because it's very situational and can be used at any point in time. So let's just do 1 for now. Oh, there we go. Vax. Okay. Thank you, Joe Math, for the clarification. I personally could never remember the difference when they just used their nicknames between Vexalia and Vaxildan, or Vaxildon. All right. Then we have Untouchable next. The Master's AC includes his Wisdom modifier, +6. Additionally, whenever the Master attacks a creature, his movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. Okay, I like this one. This one's fascinating because I was just talking, I think the last time, about how monsters that can move as like a bonus action but don't provoke attacks of opportunity are very similar to, well, one that's very similar to like Flyby, but it's also similar to teleporting. So if you can move without provoking an attack of opportunity, then I don't see why we couldn't use the Flyby ability. But I think Flyby doesn't have any real bonus, which is fascinating. Oh yeah, I remember how Campaign 1 ended. Let's see here. What are we going to do about that portion? Because the Untouchable is in the AC, which is right here. That's why it said Untouchable. Okay. And his movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. I would say that's probably going to be similar to a short... Well, all right. I'm going to say a little bit of effective hit points since you can move so far with a speed of 60. We'll go with the 16 for like a level 2 teleport and maybe add in 40 effective hit points for that. Let's see how that works out because I'm a little iffy on that one. It's situational. Because if you don't attack, you don't get the bonus. Alright. Anyways, last off we have Burning Claw Technique. Master practices a fiendish form of martial arts known as the Way of the Burning Claw. His attacks count as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistances and immunities to non-magical attacks and damage. Additionally, immediately after Master scores a critical hit with an attack, he can infuse his target with Fiery Ki. The infusion lasts for 1 hour until the Master ends the effect. While infused in this manner, a target cannot have immunity or resistances to fire damage and sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius. Cool! That's really flavorful. I don't think it's going to modify the target really much at all. Which is cool. I like that. Alright. Let's see, what else? Ooh, we got a whole bunch more to go. Alright, now we're into the action section. Let's get into that and see what's going on here. Alright, so we have a multi-attack and +11 to hit, so we'll do that +11 to hit there. We have a multi-attack of, let's see here, 4 attacks. You can replace 3 of these attacks with finishing moves if it is available. So we have the Kukri, which will deal, let's see here. May we aspect a player subclass for that, sire. Expect. That's a good idea. Could be fun to work out something like that. And actually get a worthwhile monk. Why? Oh, I see why it's doing that. Never mind. Because as far as I hear from the community about the monk subclasses, they are all weak in comparison, unfortunately. Even the good ones are still weak by comparison. 13.5 for slashing damage and 7 damage for burning or for fire. And if the target's infused with the Burning Claw feature. Oh wow, look at that. Okay, so we're expecting, we'll say that the targets always have Burning Claw. How did they get the Burning Claw again? Oh, with a critical hit, which only happens 5% of the time. So I'm going to ignore that. We don't have an extended range, so I'm not going to add in the any of the extras there for that. Then we have Tiger Kick. So the Tiger Kick is going to be 11.5 plus 7 fire damage, and then we have the Burning Claw feature again, which is really cool. Let's see here. Key Blast. We see. What's the Key Blast going to do? Ooh, 20 fire damage. Fascinating. If the target is infused with the Master of the Burning feature, ends, he instead scores Let's see here. If the target is infused via the Master's Way of the Burning Claw feature, the infusion ends and he instead scores a critical hit. Oh, that's dirty. Okay. Let's see. And then we have Roaring Key Cannon. Recharges on a 5 to 6. Oh, not criticals, just hits. I'm confused. Clorox. All right. I'll continue on. Roaring Key Cannon. Master projects a blast of burning key in a 20-foot wide, 600 foot long line. Wow. Each creature in the area must succeed a dex save or take 45 fire damage, or half as much. And if there's the infusion, the target becomes vulnerable to fire to the damage dealt by this effect. Ooh, that is a big blast. Wow. All right, so as per AoEs, we always take that and multiply it by 2 for a total of 90 damage for the Roaring Key Blast. And then we have Finishing Move, recharge of 6. So we'll put the Finishing Move there. Actually, we have a lot going on here. I'll put the Finishing Move over here. And we will have... Ooh, let's see here. All right, so on a hit and 70 necrotic damage, if it's infused with the Burning Claw feature, the target is reduced to 1 hit, and the target is reduced to 100 hit points or fewer. The infusion ends and the target dies as the master tears them apart. Oh, that's dirty. Wow, okay. The Burning Claw feature. It applies on regular hits, not just criticals, so I would suggest including the additional effects. Okay. All right. Yeah, the way it was worded, it looks like you can only do it on critical hits. Oh, I see. All right. I got confused. Additionally, immediately after the master scores a hit. Oh, scores a hit. That's where I got confused. I thought I saw critical. Okay. I'll add those in. Thank you. Okay. So yes, anytime you hit, you're going to be able to infuse them. Let's see here. Man, that finishing move. That's... Oof. Say goodnight if you hit a caster with that one. Wow. Yeah, I have to go with Joe Math on that one. I would say probably Way of the Mercy. Way of Mercy is probably my favorite as well. Way of the Mercy or probably Kensai. I don't know them well enough, but from what I've heard, other people talking about those classes, those are probably the better two for that. Shadow is fun in situations as well. Way of the Shadow, I believe it is. Anyways. Okay, so I'm just going to say with the finishing move, because of the fact that you're hitting for 70 necrotic damage and then probably bringing the target down to or below 100, we're going to look at that as like 170 damage there. So let me go back up. Roaring Key Cannon. What else does this do? The fusion ends and the target becomes vulnerable to the damage dealt by this effect. More than likely, at this point, we would save that for like round 2 or 3 after we've gotten a couple people hit with the infusion. So we can actually multiply that again times 2 and double that for the Roaring Key Cannon. Key Blast. That would be a critical hit. So we would take that and multiply 8d6 by 4. So we're looking at what? 8d6 plus strength bonus, which would be what? That was supposed to be dexterity for 22. Okay. So that would be 34 for that instead. And then Tiger Kick. Target's thrown 50 feet in a straight line. Lands prone. Not worried about the Tiger Kick effect because of how prone usually works and being pushed so far away. I wouldn't see that being any real benefit. And then the cookery, on a fail, the master regains a number of hit points equal to the damage dealt by the attack. So we're looking at an additional 20 effective hit points there. So we'll go ahead and add in 20 for this on the attack. Well, no, I'll hold off on that just yet, because we're looking at, what are we looking at here? Oh, I need so many more attack options to see ones with and ones without. Oh, man. Let's see here. What do I want to do? Well, I'll say probably... I'm not really sure how I want to go about this. What's going to give the most amount of damage? Alright, I'm going to, for the time being, I'm just going to add in... Master regains a number of hit points equal to the damage dealt by this attack. So that would include fire. So yeah, we're going to say plus another 20.5 additional effective hit points there. Alright, we'll just do that for the time being. Now, what's going to give the most damage? 4 makes 4 attacks, so we're only allowed to use the first 3 because those are attacks. The other ones are actions. So what would give us the most? I mean, technically, 4 kukris with regaining hit points. The master regains a number of hit points equal to the damage dealt. You know, we can't guarantee how much damage the is being dealt to the master. What would we do? All right, well, in theory, the best route would probably be either a bunch of kukri attacks or a bunch of key blast attacks. I'm thinking for the multi-attack. Oh, and then replace 3 of the attacks with the finishing move. Alright, so it would be 1 attack and then the finishing move as well. Oof, okay. Let's see here. So, if we were to do the key blast attacks, that would be 20 plus 34 plus 20 plus 34 for a total of 108. And that's including losing the feature there, the Burning Claw technique, after the second attack. Okay, so that's 1 multi-attack there. And then we also have the kukri, which, I mean, in theory, we would still gain all of that amount of effective hit points back. Well, I can't. Let's see here. If every round we're doing 20.5 on average, we can do that 4 times. That would be 82 hit points added in every attack round. And then we would have the 20.5. I'm not sure. I mean, overall, that's going to produce more damage with the kukri. Oh, this is a big stumper. Oof, okay. I think the kukri is going to be the better route, unfortunately. Wow. Okay. And why do I have... Oh, yeah, because that's the multi-attack. But why is that? Oh, yeah, because we doubled that also. Because then they, in theory, would be vulnerable. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the rest of this. We have a bonus action of Impossible Step. The master takes the dash and dodge actions in any order and then leaps a distance equal to his walking speed. If a spell or magical effect would prevent him from movement, the movement is not prevented and the master takes 27 force damage. Wow, all right. Yeah, a little bit, Clorox. Just a little bit. This is a tricky one. There's so much to consider. This is one I would really be taking some time with if I were to do a video for this one. All right. So, in theory, we would just be able to take the dodge and dash actions. And with that, I would give them nimble escape for that for sure. So for every bonus action, we would just do nimble escape and be able to dodge and dash away if need be. Well, no, because we're not being able to... Well, we could still break away because of the ability to avoid not taking attacks of opportunity. So yeah, that's also technically a disengage as well. So yeah, I would give them the Impossible Step as the +4 bonus there for that. Then we have deflect missiles, and this one, unfortunately, there's no real way to gauge if it's going to happen. I would say, sure, more than likely, you probably would get one. Every group has at least one ranged, attacker. So, I mean, let's see what happens. Whenever the master is hit with a ranged weapon, he can attempt to deflect it by reducing the damage by 27. If this reduces the damage to 0, the master can throw the projectile back as part of the same reaction. So let's just go with the idea that, yes, he does reduce the damage by 27, taking no damage, which would give us an extra 27 hit points back for the attack, because that's effective hit points right there. 24 there, and we're also going to add in the 82.5, was it? From the attacks? Oh, 82 as well, because we're going to just do the cookeries and see where that lands us. For the damage of that, and then on top of that we would be also dealing 10.5 piercing damage, so we'll throw in the extra damage there. Every round we would probably be reflecting a little bit back, dealing that extra damage. All right, lastly we have the legendary actions. So let's see what we have here. Strike costs 2 actions. Master makes a cookery or key blast attack. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute because I want to see what this readiness will do. The master gains an additional reaction which remains until the start of his next turn or until he uses it whichever comes first. Curious. Okay. So we could... Well... I don't know if this one would come into play all that often. Because in theory, we would generally only have maybe one ranged attacker in a group. We would have one melee for sure, one ranged of either, like a ranger or some kind of an archer of some form or a crossbow, as well as some kind of a spellcaster. And then a third or fourth party member could be some kind of crowd control or another support DPR, like a rogue of some sort. So it's really tricky to say if we would have a second ranged attack or not. So I'm going to say for now, probably not going to get much use out of this one, in theory. Really depends on the group composition, unfortunately. So for strikes, we're just going to do either kookery or key blast attack, whichever is higher. And in theory, we would be using the key blast attack of 20 or 34. All right. And in theory, we'll just go with 34 for now. And then lastly, we have the Enlightened Trance. The master enters a trance until the start of his next turn, ending all spells and magical effects currently affecting him. Additionally, he becomes immune to spells and magical effects for the duration of the trance. I like that. It's going to be extremely situational, and I'm not going to give it any kind of a bonus there. So while the legendary actions are awesome, and I really love all these flavorful conditions, I don't know how I would apply those to the CR really entirely. If you have, like, after we're done looking at this, if you want to key me in on what you may have given them for numbers here, I'd be interested to plug those in and see what happens as well. So finally, let's take a look at what we would do on round 1. So round 1, More than likely, I would say probably a Ki Blast attack at 20, because we haven't marked anything yet. So we're going to get 20 points of damage there for a Ki Blast attack. Oh, okay. Alright, I will. I'll check that out, Clorox. Thank you. Alright, so round 1. In theory, we could do a Ki Blast attack. Since he's going to be a distance away, may as well get that right into play. Sure. Maybe he's going first, or maybe the master's going first before anyone else, so he's got the advantage and hasn't taken any damage yet. So, well, I am giving the hit points also. We'll just go right in for the cookery damage instead, and we'll do that because even with the, I don't know, it's really hard to say. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to switch this up just a little bit. I'm going to take the extra hit points. I'm going to say instead of 82, I'm going to say 2 of these are probably going to be Ki Blast attacks because we're going to try and crit because we're going to be doing a load more damage. So let's say we'll do that instead. We'll do 2 kukris and 2 Ki Blast attacks just for the fun of it. Alright, so we would go in and probably kukri for the attacks, right? And then back off and go in for Ki Blast attacks on 2 targets and going in for the crits. So we would do these 2 here times 2 and then oops, crud, come on, times 2 plus 2 Ki Blasts at criticals times 2, and then we could do the we could do that for that there, and then we have this Roaring Ki Blast. No, we wouldn't want to go for that first because that's way more damage. Alright, so maybe we just jump around and hit everyone with kukri attacks instead. So we target upwards of like 4 players with kukris or whatever. So we'll just do that for the first round of combat. Second round of combat, also add in the legendary action there. Second round, we're going to then move back, hit the Roaring Ki Cannon attack, as well as, you know, maybe before that we hit someone with a Ki Blast attack. So we're looking there. And then round 3, we have the finishing move. So we would do, you know, a kukri plus the finishing move plus legendary action. Okay, so right now I'm looking at possibly CR25, but as noted by Clorox, we'll take off the immunities. Let's see what we got there. And then we'll add in vulnerabilities as well. Okay, so the CR... Wait. My thing broke. My OCR is broken. What happened? Why is my OCR broken? Uh-oh. What happened? My ratings are all messed up. What went wrong? Oh no. It's broken. Yeah, something happened here. What happened? All right, gentlemen, give me a moment while I switch and try and figure out what happened here. I got to look at the back end and figure this out real quick. I will keep you up to date as I look at this and try and figure out what is going on here. CR with a fraction, CR value, function add parameter 1 expected number. but is parameter 1 expects a value. E5. Okay, E5. Error. Why did this come up error? Oh. Oh boy. Something happened here with the OCR because of the... Huh. Yes, you've broken the calculator somehow, Clorox. There should be some kind of I should have some kind of a clause for this when it goes over 303 DPR. Oh, that's fascinating. What is the effective DPR here? The DPR is only 100 and oh, it's 194.5. How did that? Weird. Okay. Minus 0.5. Nope, that didn't help. Huh. Well, let me look at this a little bit more. Are we allowed to call it broken? Maybe? Alright, let me take a snapshot of this. And put the numbers back in afterwards. What did I do wrong? Function add parameter 1 expects number value, but error is a text. Cannot be coerced. Huh, that's fascinating. Somewhere down the line. All right. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick, so that way I can put everything back in. Wow, okay. So let me put that back. Let's see here. Move, hide that. Okay. All right, so there's something going on here with round 3. When I went and took out round 3, everything came back to normal, right? But as I put in the damage here, and I said we're gonna do this finishing move here, plus that. Okay, now it's fine. What did I do before? Something I did broke my calculator here. I added something incorrectly to round 3, which is really confusing. Oh, and one extra attack here as well. There it goes again. Wow. There's something weird about this combination that broke my calculator, because as you can see here, the addition of 20.5, if I do it like this, no, it still breaks the machine somehow. Huh. Curious. All right, we'll leave that out for the time being and just take a look at this, because we're about to hit 11 o'clock, but it has broke the calculator. It's failed 2 death saves. Yes, I'm definitely not going to be rolling for that 3rd death save. I'm going to leave it as it is, because anymore, and it might break, might completely bork this thing. So currently we're looking at CR25. If we get rid of the immunities, we're down to CR24. And if we include vulnerabilities, then we're at CR21. And this is roughly a very general amount here of extra hit points every round, because we're doing 4 cookery attacks here, E23, and then we're doing E26 and 29, which was this one and that. So actually we should have less hit points there. And then I've encountered when you use, oh yeah, it should be rounding numbers down so it avoids that problem. I don't know why the half is like breaking it for some reason. It's really strange. But anyways, I'll look into that since it's another little error here. I'll see if I can figure that out during the week and get back to you guys. I'm going to reduce the effective hit points that I've put in here a little bit more, since we're not getting all of that cookery effectiveness. And I'm just going to say, let's see here. Let's fix this one real quick. This was round down. Yeah, 20.5 times 4 divide by 3, so we can get 1 round of it. Okay, there we go. Now that we only have the cookery for the first round of damage and getting those hit points back, or in whatever order. Hey, Silk Soccer, how's it going? I'm wrapping it up. You're still here for a little bit, so I'm not completely done, but you're catching the very tail end of it, unfortunately. Now that I've adjusted the effective hit points here, and we're avoiding that 1 key point of extra damage for some reason. You know what? Let's see here. What if I add in 20? Still breaks it. I don't know what's going on here. It's broken still. We're seeing CR20 the way you had suggested, Clorox. So is this what you were expecting as well? With vulnerabilities, because you're expecting your players to get that in there, plus no immunities, you have your CR20. So if this is what you were expecting, then you're right on the mark. But anyone else that would like to use the master, you know, and doesn't have the vulnerabilities as instructed and still has the immunities, we're looking at CR25, which is perfectly fine. But if you take those bypassed and immunities into account, then we're at the number that was suggested, up here in our character for the master, a Rakshasa. All right, everyone. I'm going to leave this as it is. I'm actually going to put this value back in because I want to know why this is breaking. That's really strange. Which is odd because up here I'm getting 194.5. Anyways, this is something to work on through the week. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out as we looked at a whole bunch of 2 custom monsters and a third-party monster. It's been a lot of fun. My suggestion for those people, don't use it. Don't. That's funny. Yeah, someone cast Modify Memory on the calculator, breaking it. That's for sure. A little thing I'm going to have to work out and suss out. These are the things I enjoy, so this will be fun to figure it out for the week. And if you haven't joined the Discord, check out the pin message, and then I'll let everyone know once I figured out what happened here tonight. I'll put that message in the Discord there. So, if you're curious to know what happened and why it broke, come join the Discord if you're not already there. This one's going to be the best of the best ones there. Do we have a transmutation wizard? Possibly. Okay. So everyone, thank you all for joining me on this Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on where you are. And I will catch you all next Friday or this coming Monday as well. You've all been amazing. Clorox, Joe Math, Clawpaw, Wade, Soak Soccer. Did I miss anyone? I don't think I did. I think that's everyone. Oh, and Naga. Thank you all for joining me this evening. You've been amazing. And for anyone else that watches the video later on, you're amazing as well. Thank you all for joining me. And this is Andrew asking the same question. Are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday or Monday.